Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Hut, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the people's champion, your host, the Hut, and of course this is the Baseball Hut too, and we just witnessed another choke job by a team in the National League East. It started with the Mets, it went to the Braves, and now to the Philadelphia Phillies. Well, it's funny you should mention a choke job. They lost the National League Championship Series to one of the lowest winning teams in the history of championship play. And you know why this happened? Well, it's funny you should ask. It happened because, one, they were all preoccupied by the New York Mets, and two, they drink Bud Light.
Fuck the Bryos! And whoever the fuck is next! And always the Mets!
And then there's the sad Philly fans. Boy, how disgusted they must be. I wonder if they're having a lot of trouble sleeping. I know one guy that's not having good times of it these days. Carson of a blue streak last night, and that's comic book creator Ethan Van Sciver. I would mention this about Van Sciver. His team drinks Bud Light.
Fuck the Bryos! And whoever the fuck is next! And always the Mets!
Very excited. Went to go see the Phillies play the Mets, and the Mets are largely and widely considered to be gay. Like, they're just like a gay team. I hate the Mets.
Now, as we get into this video, just understand that this is not just a roast. I promised many people after the Braves lost the series to the Phillies, that the Phillies needed to win the World Series. I could not tell you. We're just getting warmed up, folks, with this one video. There'll be a series of videos over the next few days that you need to subscribe to. So if you are a Met fan, you hate the Phillies, or you just don't like the Phillies to begin with, you know, the whole thing with the head, these guys need to clean themselves up. Brandon Marsh is the first. And that pitcher is all hunched over pitching. And I'm not talking about Kimbrel, that lefty. He needs a haircut too. Brandon Marsh, I was reading a little bit of, before we get this video, Brandon Marsh, I was reading an article about him, just a little blurb. He says, just wet hair, just wet water in his hair. It looks disgusting. Cut it off. And the thing with the beard, the Charlie Blackmon look is over. It's been over for the last 3 years. Get rid of it. Ugh. Now, let's get into this video. Let me tell you something, folks. You're not going to get this from Ball Cap Sports. You're not going to get this from Wardy. Wardy's too afraid of his own shadow, by the way. Hey, everybody wants to be the friends of the players. I don't want to be a friend of any player or any person that's in the media. Then Mets talk with Rob. He's not going to do this. None of your favorite YouTubers will do this. Will attempt to do what I'm doing here. So let's go down the line. Who is responsible? Well, we'll name the number one guy responsible for all this. That is the legendary Craig Counsell. Let's look at his numbers. He blew 2 games in this series. Game 3 and Game 4. In the series, he went 0-4. I'm so excited about this. I'm all getting screwed up. And 4 games that he pitched, he lost 2 games. He blew 2 games. Now, he did save 1 game, but boy, that ERA of 12. I mean, really, the Phillies had this series won several times, and they just couldn't put the Diamondbacks away. They struggled to put them away several times. They had the first 2 games. They won the first 2 games at home. Everybody was talking about the home field advantage that the Phillies had. Oh, my God. The Phillies fans who hadn't been at the ballpark in like 10 years. There's such a great home field advantage. You know, with Van Sciver screaming at the Mets and everything else. But the fans, oh my God, they were like a 10th man on that field, boy. Weren't they? Especially in Games 6 and 7. They made such a difference. But, Craig Kimbrel really, I mean, they had the series. They had the series 2 games to nothing. When that happens, the worst thing that can happen in those middle games is that your bullpen blows it. You'd rather get blown out in that situation than have a situation where your team blows it late in the game, because then it kills you and it gives so much confidence to the other team. You know, they were winning at Game 3 and Kimbrel blew the game. Boom. Alec Thomas. Boom. Hit 3-run homer. Place was going crazy. They went into extra innings late in the game. They won it on a walk-off. Game 4, they had it right there. They could have been up 3-1 with Wheeler going in Game 5 to clinch it. And boom, Kimbrel killed him again. Kimbrel they were sort of talking about how legendary he was, how he's one of the great closers of all time. To be honest with you, if you look at his numbers, his wins above replacement is almost identical to guys like Bruce Sutter, identical to John Franco, identical to Billy Wagner, identical, believe it or not, to Trevor Hoffman. There's only one pitcher, and even Dennis Eckersley, they're all kind of in the same kind of realm. 25 is like the wins above replacement. It's the weirdest thing. And Kimbrel is talked about as a Hall of Famer. There's only one reliever that was untouchable for the most part, and that was Mariano Rivera. All of them have had issues. I mean, think about it. Trevor Hoffman blew an all-star game. That son of a bitch blew an all-star game. And the reason I call him a son of a bitch because the Mets were the best team in baseball that year. And I was thinking the Mets are going to get the home field advantage. And he blew that game. I was so pissed. Now, it didn't matter because the Mets lost the Cardinals. But that's how irritated I was as a Mets fan to see that Hoffman blew that. But, you know, these relievers, especially these great quote-unquote closers, they're not invincible. I mean, Dennis Eckersley gave up a home run to Kirk Gibson. The gimpy, overrated Kirk Gibson. But you have... that was right there for them to win it. Then, amazingly, the Phillies had the series. Again, several times. 3 times in this series, they had a chance to put the Diamondbacks away. They could have won Game 3. Could have went up 3-0. They could have won Game 4. Could have gone up 3-0, then 3-1. And then in Game 5, Wheeler pitched great. No surprise there. He's a Met. And a good Met. Pitched well, won the game. The Phillies were up 3-2 going home. That's about as easy a layup to win a series as you can get. And what happened? They had no energy. They didn't hit. In the last 2 games, the middle of the Phillies lineup was 1 for 28. I was shocked going through the offensive numbers of the Phillies. It's unbelievable how poorly they hit. And I watched the series, and I could not believe some of these numbers. The only 2 guys that really did anything, really 3, worth their weight in gold in terms of the whole series, was Alec Baum, JT Realmuto, and Kyle Schwarber. Now, Kyle Schwarber did nothing in the last 2 games. But those 3 guys in particular did really well. Bryce Harper did not get a hit in the final game. He was in the series 5 for 23 with 2 home runs. His OPS was fine, but really, he didn't have a good series in my view. He didn't have a good series. We'll get into the last guy in terms of the offensive players, but Schwarber hit a lot of home runs, but he did not do well in the last 2 games. The pitching of the Diamondbacks was very strong in the last 2 games. Let me just say, really, the guy that is the most glaring is Nick Castellanos. Now, let me tell you something, folks. I'm so happy that we don't have to see that kid, that his stupid kid running around and behind the plate, getting all excited that his father hit a home run. I'm so glad we don't have to watch that garbage, quite frankly, because it was so obnoxious. It was like totally over the top reacting to all this stuff. I'm so glad that we don't have to see that kid. I'm sorry. I'm quite frankly, I'm very happy I don't have to see that kid. Maybe I'm the only one. Have anybody noticed this? I was telling somebody the other day that during the postseason, they're always showing people in the stands doing this or this. It drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. People are always praying, and these are people that don't go to the games. These are not regular people that go to the games all the time. The people that go to the games, they're not doing it just sitting there back watching. But you see these assholes that don't go to the games. They're all into it, and they every pitch, they're like, like this. Or they bite the nails, or they're putting their hand, they're so into it. But meanwhile, where are they the 162 games during the season? They're not there. It just drives me crazy. Does it drive you crazy? It drives me crazy. Again, you're not going to see this kind of video on Ball Cap Sports. That's for damn sure. But really, it was great to see the Phillies blow it because they had it right there. Right there. It's not 17 games with 7 left. 17 games to play, 7 behind. But, this is pretty bad. Castellanos 0-42 for the series. Thank God we don't have to see that fucking kid. What? So glad. And I would mention Orion Keckering, this 10-year-old that the Phillies were pushing out, trying to make him seem like he's Frankie Rodriguez. He pitched terrible. In 4 games, he gave up in 2 1/3 innings, 2 earned runs, 6 hits, 2 walks, 4 strikeouts. Terrible. And obviously he didn't pitch well. The bullpen for the Phillies was not very good. Aaron Nola, he pitched well in one game, didn't pitch well in the other game. Zach Wheeler was the horse of that series. He was the shining light in that series. If they were able to get him to pitch earlier in game 7, if he started the game, they probably had a shot. Once the Diamondbacks took an early lead, it was weird. It's funny. The whole series, I was thinking to myself, I was like, especially in the middle games, the Phillies are going to find a way to win this series. I did predict the Phillies were going to go to the World Series. So I was very surprised, like everybody else was, that the Diamondbacks beat them. But if your bullpen blows it all the time, you're not going to win. It kills you. It absolutely kills you. We've seen that many years, and for a lot of teams. We've seen that with the Mets. 2006 was the biggest. If we want to look back, 2006 was the most disappointing season I can remember. Because it was the bullpen that blew that series. It wasn't Carlos Beltran taking a pitch. It was the Mets bullpen between Aaron Heilman and Billy Wagner not pitching well. Not being able to get these bench warmers out late in the game, especially early in that series, was the reason why the Mets didn't win that series. If there's one series over the many years I've been a Met fan that really bothers me, that's the series. Plus, not having Pedro and Alduve for the postseason hurt them too. But when your bullpen doesn't pitch well, specifically in postseason, it kills you every time. And they're the biggest culprits in this series. And obviously, the last 2 games, the vaunted offensive juggernaut of the Philadelphia Phillies. That's the one thing about this Phillies team. They've been sort of up and down the last few years as an offense. But that's what happens when you have a club that's hot and cold, specifically when you have a team that's sort of based on power. When you have a team that's based on power, that power can turn off in a second. And that's what happened in this series. And when that happens, we're going to yuck it up. Like I said, the next few days we're going to have a lot of fun here at the Baseball Hut too. Just talking about this Phillies team and this Phillies series against the Diamondbacks. I would think that series with the Rangers versus the Diamondbacks, boy, I tell you, that is not prime time right there. I would say that's probably a toss-up, just based on the way the Diamondbacks have played. That's probably a toss-up series. I think the Rangers will win, but it's a toss-up series. Now, over the next few days, we'll see the reactions of the fans. I will say this: the Phillies fans they're not as deranged as the Braves fans. I must say they take this and more stride, this choke job than the choke job, and that the Braves has. Well, the Braves fans they can't handle it because they know the team's doing all kinds of monkey crap. I also would say this: I know that Van Sciver and one of his comic book buddies, Andy Smith, that said that the game was rigged in Game 6. No. Baseball doesn't rig their games. Now, if a team is stealing signs, well, that's a different story. Like the Braves do all the time. And the Braves have done for 30 years. And I will mention this as well. The Braves, there will be unrelenting videos on the Braves. The Phillies, I have some respect for them just based on the fact that they've beaten the Mets in the past. Fair and square. The Braves, that's a different story. Between them stealing signs and all this monkey garbage crap between Chipper Jones naming his kid Shea. You name your kid Shea. Oh, this is an homage. No, it's not an homage, folks. That's a middle finger and something stuck up your ass. He basically said, I stick it up your ass, I'm going to keep doing it. That's why I named my kid after Shea Stadium. Well, yeah, like I said, I'm not hostile towards the Braves or their fans. Any Braves fans that's coming through here wanting to watch a roast of the Phillies, it's a rather mild roast, I got to say. I need to build it up. I was out all day working, and now I'm home, and I'm all flat. But we'll have more, funny videos of the next few days. Like I said, they're not nearly as, the Phillies fans, they're not nearly as thin-skinned as the Braves fans. The Braves fans know what the deal is. They just don't want to admit to it. That's how it is. Well, you let me know what you think about this mild roast of the Phillies. It's not nearly as fun as the Braves. Like I said, it's not nearly as fun as the Braves. The thing I can say I'm glad about is I don't have to see that Nick Castellanos kid. God, that kid annoyed the shit out of me. I don't know about you. And we don't have to watch that dirty, disgusting Brandon Marsh. Who's the other guy? Let me see, because I got baseball reps. Who's the other guy that really needs a wash? Who's that other guy? Is Manaply? No, I don't think it's him. What the hell's his name? It doesn't matter. Shut the hell up. Let's end this video. Thank you for watching this video. Please subscribe to the Baseball Hut too, and I'll see you later.